Now that is the type of performance of champions. That is a brilliant result for Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it's such an exciting game for us to talk about. Now the first half was a bit interesting. There was a few things going on. Obviously the Fur Lopez goal is brilliant, and ultimately he is, someone we're going to have to speak about separately in this video. But 3-1 against Preston, the first away win in 489 days, which sounds like a fake statistic, but believe me, unfortunately it is true. Now we're going to break down the first half really, and then we'll get a deeper dive into certain players and all that sort of stuff in the second half, because that was the far better half of the two. Now the first half was relatively boring other than the Lopez goal. I thought Preston didn't really offer anything in terms of going forward. I don't think they really threatened Wolves at all, to be quite honest, in that first half. I thought Nasser Giga played well in that first half on the ball. I thought he was finding the midfielders very well, and something that I've been very sort of critical for Mosquera, really. I don't think Mosquera does a lot of that. I don't think he's able to break lines. I don't think he's able to find those gaps in midfield and ultimately progress the ball, really. And I think Giga did that really well. Now, as I say, the first half wasn't that interesting. Obviously, Wolves do indeed go into the break 1-0 up, and you're thinking, Preston grow into the game slightly for the last sort of 10 minutes, but ultimately there's still no real sort of threats on goal, and you think, do you know what, Wolves need a goal second half, because ultimately it could get a bit touchy and a bit tricky, really, and it obviously did seem it was going to go that way. I think after the sort of Blackburn game, there would have been a lot of people in that away end, all 5,600 of them, there would have been a lot of people in that away end that thought, do you know what, ooh, this could get a bit techie for us, for want of a better word. But ultimately, it didn't. And we're going to sort of break down the second half and a few individual performances now, because that's the real exciting part of this video. That's the bit we want to be sort of speaking about and talking about, really. Now, as I've said, the first half wasn't as exciting as we've seen, to be honest. I don't think it was a particularly incredible game of football in the first half. I was impressed with a few performances in this game, though, I have to be completely honest. Now, for me, Totti Gomez level was much improved on what we saw against Blackburn. I'm not saying he was the best player on the pitch, and I'm not overhyping him or saying that he was incredible. I just think it was a much improved performance. It looked a bit more like a captain's performance to me, a bit more like a leader's performance. I thought he mopped up things really well. I thought his passing was pretty crisp on the whole, and I thought he was actually a lot better, really. Now, someone I want to speak about that I've been very, very critical of on this channel, and in general, I know a lot of Wolves fans are Jackson Stewart. And again, someone I'm not getting ahead of. I want to make that abundantly clear, but he puts that ball in for Raul where he does really well. He put a few decent crosses in, really, throughout the game, and overall I was impressed with him on that right hand side. I thought in terms of pace, up against a very experienced winger in Delano Bergzorg at this level, someone that's played for Huddersfield, Bristol, Middlesbrough, a player that, as I say, is very experienced. I thought he did well. I thought he dealt with him well. I know obviously he gets that assist, and on the score sheet you're thinking, oh, well, he's on Chachura's side, so it's probably got to be his fault. But if you have watched that game, you can't tell me that Jackson Chachura had a bad game. And people would, love to get on to him. They really do. He's an easy target. He's a scapegoat every week. But for me, I think you just have to say he's played well. And I don't want to hear anyone sort of downplaying him or being sort of hostile towards him anymore, because ultimately, he's a player that Wolves fans are going to have to get behind for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And if he plays like that every week for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I don't think there'll be too many arguments. And I was impressed with him. I thought his recovery pace obviously helped out at times as well. I thought him and Giga looked really comfortable as a partnership on that right-hand side. And it was nice to see, and sort of refreshing to see, a better performance from him. Now, another player that I want to speak about is Raul Jimenez. I thought he struggled at times to get into the game. In terms of sort of the ball was almost missing him a lot of the time, but ultimately the ball, Adam Armstrong comes on and the ball into him is a joke. The build-up play in that move is a joke. Raul Jimenez, I don't know how he's found that pass. It's unbelievable. And Adam Armstrong obviously does what he does best at championship level, comes on, slots it away. Wolves then go 2-0 up, and you're thinking, yeah, that's the one. And I said on Twitter at half-time that Wolves need a second goal, and if they get that second goal, I would back them to sort of, that would be the game over, and it pretty much was. The second goal killed the game, or let Wolves get more of a grip on it and ultimately go and push for the third, which was something that I really, really enjoyed. Now, Andre again, I thought was really solid. I thought he picked up areas, and I think Manetzi left less gaps this time for him to deal with, but ultimately I thought Doyle coming on, I thought he really played well. He does really well, Tommy Doyle, as well, for the goal, for Fur Lopez's goal. He really impressed me. He got a great assist there. And he was a really sort of instrumental part of that goal, the flick and the sort of ball around the corner. Whether he's meant to do it or not, I'm not sure, but I'd have to watch it back. But it's exceptional. It really is. And I think overall, a much better midfield performance. No real gaps. Obviously, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because McCann and Leroy, for me, as a midfield and as a partnership, I've never been particularly sold on that midfield, and I don't think the level's sort of that high really. But ultimately, Wolves looked better, and ultimately, if you stop those gaps, as I said, if we stop those gaps and you stop those sort of errors that they made in the Blackburn game, they will run out winners in most games in this division. I think it's really interesting today as well. Obviously, the results that have gone, obviously Norwich have started the season winless after 2 games. Blues, which some Blues fans are convinced themselves they'll be in and amongst it, they've drawn today. Middlesbrough have lost. West Ham have lost. Castellanos missing a penalty in the 93rd minute as well to sort of tie the game for them. And Wolves have, of course, won. Now, the player we have to speak about, the creme de la creme, my favourite player in the Wolves side, a player that I have backed when no one else did, a player that I have backed as soon as Wolves signed him. I loved it. As soon as, even when Wolves loaned him out, I said, come on, what are they doing? A player that I have collected cards of, a player that I just love. Everything about the way he plays the game, I love. Fur Lopez, 22 years of age, playing at that level. For me, the best player in this championship season, and that's going to sound crazy given the fact that that Jared Bowen's in the league, for example. Will Lankshire's a top player, but Fur Lopez, for me, in terms of ability, his ceiling is frightening. And if Wolves do not go up this season, there is not a world where he stays. There is not a world. I don't care how much he loves the fans and how much that celebration means. He is far too good to be playing at this level. He took the absolute mick today. Again, some of the football that he plays, it's like watching Ronaldinho in the Championship. If he was left-footed, it's ridiculous. The level and the goals and the way that he takes them and the composure that he's got and the sort of, just the level that he's got, it is frightening. The ceiling he's got is frightening. And how on earth he couldn't get into that side last season at any point, and then obviously gets loaned out by Rob Edwards, is freakish. Absolutely freakish. I mean, let's just look at some of the stats. Obviously, the joint most dribbles with 3. Yeah, I mean, 94% pass accuracy when he plays. Some of the most risky passes you'll see on the pitch. It's a joke. He's misplaced 6% of his passes there. And some of the passes he's pulling off are just outrageous. And this is his zone. This is where he's so comfortable, as I've been saying, for even when Wolves signed him, and even a year ago. That pocket in between the right winger and the striker, it's his. He owns that space. And it just shows both goals are pretty much in an identical position. Do you know what I love about him as well? He doesn't play like a stereotypical Spanish attacking midfielder where he's lazy and he's a bit lightweight. He's got physical stature to him. Yes, he looked a bit lightweight last season in the Premier League, but so far in the Championship, he's bullied defenders. He's on the ball, he's supremely talented. And there's nothing that I don't believe he can reach this season. I think he can reach Championship Player of the Season levels. I think he will be the Championship Player of the Season. I said this before the season started. I think he's an absolute joke. And the fact that Wolves are able to have a player like that at this level is mental. Now, another one that I want to speak about as well, Adam Armstrong, again another player that's very good at this level. 13 touches, 1 goal. 13 touches, 1 goal. And you see how well he does in the build-up. You see how well he does in the move that he scores. Works his socks off again. And Adam Armstrong does what Adam Armstrong does best. And for me, Wolves are at their best when they have Armstrong and Jimenez playing together along with Fur Lopez in that side. Now that's going to spell very interesting conversations for Rodrigo Gomez, I'd imagine, as the season progresses. But equally, for me, those three, when they're on the pitch, it looks frightening. Now, the one player that I did want to discuss as well, Jose Sarr, I thought he did well throughout the game. And I know that might sound mad considering obviously they've conceded. Obviously, it's an incredible goal. He gets his hand to it, which is frustrating. I've always sort of criticised him for having poppadom hands. But I thought he claimed really well, especially off set pieces. And ultimately, he's Wolves' best goalkeeper. As much as I do not rate him as highly as some people, he absolutely is the best goalkeeper at the club. He absolutely should stay this season. And he absolutely should be the number one for the remainder of the season. And I wholeheartedly stand by that. I think there's just no world where they can sort of drop him now. And for me, it's going to be interesting to see if Krejci stay, if Bueno stay. Because for me, the only change I'd probably make is Krejci in for Totti and maybe Bueno in for Giga. But I was really impressed with Giga. And overall, it's what you want from an away performance. And I just want to quickly speak about some more of the subs as well. Jordan James looked okay when he came on in spells. Obviously, only had 11 minutes on the pitch. Tommy Doyle, as I said, an assist when he comes on. Comfortable in his passing. 30 touches in the bloody 23 minutes he was on, which is very, very good. And overall, just another good player to be able to bring on in this game in a level where ultimately you're going to have a lot of the ball and you want a player in that game state. So it's a very positive performance. It's a very positive result, and I've absolutely loved every second of watching that game, if I'm being completely honest. Now, where do Wolves go from here? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the remainder of the window. Whether they bring in more reinforcements in the wide areas will remain to be seen. Whether they bring in another goalkeeper, if Sam Johnston leaves, you'd imagine he would, because I don't think he gets in over Jose Sarr anyway. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited for the remainder of the transfer window. We will be doing plenty of updates on this channel if you want as well. Check out my latest video on Medina, a player that's been linked to Wolves, someone that I don't really rate too highly and I don't think Wolves necessarily need, but someone that's been linked nonetheless, and we have discussed him and what I like and what's not to like, etc. So thank you all for watching. What a performance. Absolutely brilliant performance. Made up for those fans, those 5,600 fans that have travelled up there. Absolutely brilliant. Atmosphere as well from the away end. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I think Mateus Mane is someone that we didn't really get to speak about fully in this video, but again, someone that I think has improved a lot from the Blackburn game. More direct, looks more of a threat. Looked more intent on getting inside of his man and making things happen centrally as well, which for me is where he operates best, as opposed to being sort of a touchline winger. Overall, Hugo Bueno as well, one quick shout out to him as well. I thought he was brilliant again, and Wolves have to keep him, in my opinion. So, a very interesting game. Let me know your thoughts if you did go. If you didn't go, let me know your thoughts on the game in general. I was really, really enjoying every second of it, especially in that second half. I thought the manager got his subs right, and it's nice to see a bit of pressure taken off him. The results have gone Wolves' way in terms of the teams that I expect to come the end of the season to be in and around them. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. We are trying to reach 10k before the end of the season. Yes, very unlikely, I'm aware of that, but we are going to keep dreaming on this channel and keep putting out high quality content, hopefully for you guys to enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Sensational, wonderful, incredible!